What's up, guys? My name is Gilgamesh, and you're watching. Actually, I don't know what you're watching. I'm recording the commentary before the footage goes up, so I'm assuming you're watching something Mass Effect related, because it is Mass Effect that I'm talking about specifically, the next Mass Effect, and what I would like to see in it. I have a list compiled here of what I would like to see in the next game. I understand that calling it Mass Effect 4, the BioWare doesn't like that because it's not necessarily Mass Effect 4, it's just another game that's in the Mass Effect universe, and it's not a continuation of Shepard's story. I'm sure you've all heard about that, but anyway, that's what it is. But I'd like to talk about what I'd like to see. Obviously, I really, really liked multiplayer. That's the first game since, like Pokemon Crystal and Sapphire that I've really just sank my teeth into and not let go. And I really, really would love to see that return. And I'm just going to call it Mass Effect 4 just for simplicity's sake. I understand the semantics there, but Mass Effect 4 is what I'm just going to call it. So Mass Effect 4, I hope that they have multiplayer. I really do. And I've compiled a list of what I want to see. So first up is more character customization. I don't know about you guys, but I loved customizing my characters in this game. And it'd be nice to see a little bit more than just the color scheme. And there was a lot of color scheme things that you could do, and that was really cool. But I'd like to see maybe like different armor, maybe like more of the face that you could do. Like you got skin tone, which was kind of cool, I guess. But a lot of those didn't really change much. And it was okay. But I think maybe more of the actual alien that's in the suit instead of just the suit, and then even then maybe like more of the suit stuff, like in different armor types. Like maybe you could get special shoulders for completing one of every map on bronze, silver, and gold. You'd get a new shoulder plates for everybody. Excuse me. You get new shoulder plates for everybody, or maybe if you beat every type of enemy on silver, then you would get new helmets or something. That would be really cool. And I came from a Halo background originally, and sort of Xbox and that sort of thing, and I think that the Halo armor customization is one of its very strong points and a part that I really enjoyed. And I'd like to see that in Mass Effect 4. That would be really cool. And the next thing I have here is more randomness in waves, and I think we all kind of got tired of the same old routine of like, oh boy, okay, 4 phantoms are going to spawn there, and they're going to run up here, and and it's going to be, we're going to have to hold it down because phantoms are BS. But it was like we, at a certain point, especially the higher level players, we kind of knew what was going to happen. And we could just plan accordingly, and that almost kind of broke the game. It just, I don't know, it wasn't fun at a certain point. So I think that it would be cool if they would somehow kind of switch up what spawns when. Like maybe they have like a range, like say 2 to 5 Centurions are gonna spawn this wave, and you don't know if it's 2 and you don't know if it's 5, and then they had, if you know about the way that the waves work, they had like a budget system, so then certain units would cost certain points, and once they reached the budget they couldn't spawn anymore. So it would be cool if maybe there was some randomness in there and they would spend all the budget, so maybe you'd see maybe less higher up enemies but more little guys, or maybe less little guys and more big guys. That would be, it would be different, and it would shake things up a bit, and it would be really cool. Next thing I have here is double XP / credit events, and I'll explain this a little bit more in depth. I think everybody really liked the challenge weekends. That was really cool. I like how they integrated it with the challenge system after the can't remember what the DLC was, but the one where they added collectors and the N7HQ. That was really cool, and I think everybody liked that. And it'd been really cool if they had something like an incentive for you to get it done earlier. Obviously they gave you the pack as soon as you completed it after that update, which was awesome. But what I think would be cool is maybe after you beat that, like the rest of the weekend maybe, or like the rest of the week, who knows, that you would get either double XP or double credits or something like that, or maybe if there's holidays, like N7 Day or something like that, or maybe like, oh, it's Halloween, Happy Halloween, everybody. Let's double XP for everybody. That would be really cool. And again, a lot of other games do that, and I think that increases just the player base around that. And grinding for credits was kind of annoying, and grinding for XP was kind of annoying, and anything that you can do to sort of speed that up would be appreciated by the players. But obviously, there'd have to be some sort of thing that they would have to do in order to get that. All right, next I have more rewards for promoting. Maybe like a promotion pack, or maybe that could be tied to the armor. Like if you promote a class, then you get a cool chest piece for that class or something. I don't know what that would be, but I hardly ever promoted except when it was weekend events, just because I didn't want to. I had all my guys at level 20, and I wanted to keep them there. And then what that made is then it made me want the respec cards more when I would think of something cool, like a cool idea of how to spec somebody. And I think that they should reward you for promoting. I know one of my friends, he really liked to promote, and he kind of stepped back once. It was kind of like there's really no point for me to be doing this, but he did it anyway. Whatever. But I think that would be cool. I think a lot of people would like something more for promoting things. The next thing I have is the more equal distribution of races. I know that we had 12 humans-ish? No, more than that, but a lot of humans. Obviously that's fine, we are humans, and the humans are kind of the center of the Mass Effect universe. That's fine. But we only had 2 Solarians, right? And we had 4 Volus, which people like that or dislike that. I ended up liking it after I kind of played around with them. They were kind of cool. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I would like to see more more distribution of the races, have more of an equal spread. I don't know, that's pretty self-explanatory. It's not a big deal. Next thing I think is something that a lot of people can agree with is that there should be less cheap enemies, if that makes sense. By cheap enemies, I mean pretty much every Geth unit. And that's something that's very difficult for game designers to do, is they often equate sort of the level of BS, is the way I would like to think of it. The level of BS doesn't really equate to the level of difficulty, Like, it would be, being stunned over and over, that definitely makes it harder, but it's also a lot more annoying. And, when with characters that then couldn't be stunned, like the Geth Juggernaut mainly, and the Destroyer, the Destroyer couldn't be stunned. Then you just kind of, that would make the enemy not so difficult anymore. But then that kind of makes you have to play those 2 characters, and that's not good. I really liked Cerberus before they added Centurions, or not Centurions. What are those? Dragoons. I really liked Cerberus. That was my favorite faction. And then they added, it was Reapers once they fixed Magnet Hands. I really liked Reapers too. And Collectors were really hard, and I enjoyed that, but they were more difficult because they had things that would actively screw you over. Seeker Swarms were kind of annoying, but they were harder, and and not in nearly as bad of a way as Geth Bombers and everything else that stunned you in that faction. So I think that made Geth, which was originally kind of the kind of in the middle faction, not as hard as Reapers, but easier. Not as hard as Reapers, but harder than Cerberus. They were kind of in the middle, and then they became the hardest faction because they were just annoying. No one wanted to play them. So I don't know. That's what I have there, and then that actually ties into my next bullet point here is the more difference between factions. In the beginning there was a real difference between how the enemies operated. And, the Cerberus was kind of more tactical, and they had a slow pressure, and they would, cover each other and throw smoke and all that stuff, and that was really cool. And then the Geth kind of just slowly lumbered towards you. And then, the Reapers were kind of a mixture between sort of the slow push and then just blitzing you with the Banshees or Husks, And that was really cool, and it was kind of stressful to see. Okay, this is the only cover between me and that Ravager, but these Husks are going to turn the corner, and then I'm going to be screwed. That was really cool. And the Collectors were just really difficult all around. But by that point, everybody kind of just rushed you, you know? Like, there was way too much aggression, and that's not that fun to play against. I think a lot of people will agree with me there, but I know some people will disagree as well. You know, it's just being blitzed over and over by dragoons or whatever else. You know, that's not fun. So I would like to see a more difference in style between that, and that would also vary up the type of characters that you could play as. You know, if one guy is really good at just locking down an area, maybe he wouldn't mind playing against more aggressive factions because he could handle it. But maybe a sniper who is interested in sort of taking things out tactically and one by one, you know, maybe he'd like to fight against a more slow push race. You know, there's a lot of you know, stuff to be explored there, and I think that would be cool. Next thing is just a little one. I would like to see facial animations in the characters. Obviously, if the budget increases, and I think it will, because no one really expected Mass Effect 3 multiplayer to be as cool as it was. I think it would be really cool if the characters that showed their face would actually move their mouth and like kind of react to situations. Obviously, I think that that's something they might add. That's, I'm assuming, not very difficult to do. So I think that would be cool. That always kind of bothered me, that like your character would say things during the battle, like in the battle chatter and stuff, and they wouldn't, like, their face wouldn't move at all. And yeah, that's a very small, minor complaint there. Next thing I have is less lag-dependent weapons, and in parentheses, better netcode. I am not a programmer. I like computers and stuff, and I've taken a stab at programming, but it's always been low level, so if I say better netcode, I understand that that's a very, very complicated issue, and I'm sure that they are focusing on that, now that there's sort of a more focus on multiplayer, not just single player. But the lag-dependent weapons were pretty bad, and I know that they fixed a lot of them, and that was great. But that's just one thing that I wanted to make sure that they were looking into, and I'm sure they are. Next thing is a mute button. I know that a lot of people were wanting a mute button or like a vote kick system. I personally never really wanted to kick a person mid-game, but a mute button would be nice. I do know a lot of people like to talk into the mic, and a lot of people don't want to hear that. So just be able to mute people, and that's a very fine feature, especially on Xbox Live, because we don't know how that goes. Next is the random search. I think this came to be kind of a focus that people paid attention to when the Firebase White Geth was a big thing. Basically, you'd search for, like, okay, I don't have any friends online, so I'll just hop into a public game and see what's going on, and it would always be that. And I think there's two sides of that issue. Obviously, there's the people favoring one map over the other and one matchup for purposes of farming. That's a separate issue. But I'm saying it would be nice to search for a lobby that is also random, so you could set it so that, like, the people in the lobby don't know either. And I think that would just be good. I think a lot of people have thought of that before, so I think that would be a good change. Next thing I see is the challenge mode. That's right. So I play a lot of Nazi zombies with my friends. Maybe not a lot, but I do. And I think it would be really cool to see that same sort of thing with Mass Effect 3, or Mass Effect 4 rather. Just like it was great. Going in for 10 waves and then having to extract and then getting your stuff. That was cool. But I think a lot of people kind of got bored of that monotony, and it would be cool to see a mode where it would continue getting harder as you went on. I don't know how exactly they would do this. Maybe like every 10 waves they would up the difficulty per se. So you'd start at bronze difficulty, and then waves 11 through 20 would be silver, and then 21 through 30 would be gold, and then 31 through 40 would be platinum, and then maybe you'd be done. I don't know. But it would be really cool to see it get harder as the game went on, and that it would continue until you failed the mission. I think that would be really, really cool, and for the hardcore players who would be able to get to wave, 50 or 60 or 70, and, were really, really solid, then there would be a pretty large credit payout at the end of it, and that would be kind of cool for, if my friends and I wanted to hop on, we wanted to grind for some credits, just, okay, how long can we last on Firebase Giant or something like that. That would be pretty interesting, and maybe they could have different enemies show up or something like that, and there'd be maybe boss waves or something. And I don't know how the specifics would work out, but I think that would be really cool, that it wouldn't end until you sort of either quit or failed. And there'd be a credit payout for that would go along accordingly with how far you lasted. I think that'd be cool. Next I have is the dynamic maps. I know this is kind of a big thing in Call of Duty Ghosts and the Battlefield franchise and everything with destructible environments, really. And I think that would be really cool for, just any sort of map. I'm trying to think of an example, but like they did it with the reactor in Firebase Reactor, and I thought that was really cool. Regrettably, the enemies could walk through the doors, but it was kind of cool to be able to say, okay, let's lure them in here, and then we can activate the trap, and then it'll at least damage them. And that was really cool, and I would like them to put more of that into the next multiplayer mode. I'm trying to think of what else they could do. Maybe on like, I don't know. Maybe you would have to go hide in a bunker, and you could trigger the cannons on Firebase Giant, and the overpressure would damage enemies or something like that. I don't know. Anything to maybe change the map, like maybe you could, like break one of the things in the, or like you could break a ladder, and then they couldn't go through that way anymore. Obviously you have to think about that, but that would be kind of cool. Well, the next thing I would like to see is a party up feature. It'd be cool to have sort of a party with your friends within the game. I know you can party up on Xbox Live and then, go in from there. But it would be cool that way you could kind of load up, or you could pick your game types, in that way without having to be in a lobby. I know that's something that a lot of other multiplayer games are doing, and I think that if they're focusing on multiplayer a little bit more, that they'll do that, and that would be nice. Next thing I have here is the fewer loading screens, which also kind of is tangential to the party up feature. I know that was just a big problem with my friends, is that they would complain a lot, and me too, I would complain a lot about the number of loading screens and the amount of time it would take to go in between. Like, I would have to quit my game, and then it would be a loading screen to go back to the menu. Then I'd join someone's game, and it would go back to the main menu and load the main menu, and then go back into their game and load that, and then we'd have to load the game up. So, like, just a lot of loading screens, and that got kind of tiresome. But I think, again, that's one thing that they're probably working on, and they're looking into to have fewer loading screens, especially since there's going to be more of a focus. At least I hope. Stealth kills, I also thought was something cool. A lot of people were complaining about how overpowered the tactical cloak is, and I'm inclined to agree slightly. I think that tactical cloak is without a doubt the best power in the game, followed by Reeve, I guess. But I think no one will argue that tactical cloak is very, very strong, and it would be nice to see sort of a stealth melee character. I know people could do that with like the Geth Infiltrator and the blanking on the name right now, but there's that guy with the sword. Was it the Shadow? Might have been the Shadow. But that would be really cool. That like if you were in the cloak, and it was, say, just a generic sort of trooper level enemy, maybe like a Centurion level enemy, that if you were behind them, that you could like, hold B, and then you'd stealth kill them, and that would be really badass, And then the same kind of thing would be execution animations, and maybe, it's starting to sound a little bit more like Gears of War, but that would be really, really cool if you could execute things, like if you had your big hammer as the Geth, or not the Geth, the Krogan Warlord, and you see a guy and he's crouching around a corner, and you hold B and he's at a certain point of health or whatever. Maybe you could like hold him up against the wall and then bash him with the hammer, or like throw him into a wall or something. Or if you kill a Phantom at a certain point of health, take their sword out of their hand and like stab him with it or something like that. That would be super, super cool. And it would kind of almost be fun to like, hey dudes, look at this, and you'd all kind of fight over who could kill the last guy or something. I don't know. But that's actually about it that I have for the list. So leave a comment in the comment box below, of course, if you have another one that you think I missed. If you disagree with any of my desires, and yeah, so leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more stuff. I'll catch you later.
Stay alert. Get to the extraction area. On it. Let's move! Good shot!